I just want you to enjoy the music. While I see the numbers are climbing, I would like to serenade you so you can be relaxed and comforted to prepare yourself and your mind to what I plan to deal with today on this Dr. Love Persaud Uncensored live at 5. I am going to keep apologizing because I'm having some technical issues with my computer. So I had to devise and improvise to get close to a better quality of broadcast. But nonetheless, here we are. There's a lot that I have on my agenda for today. And most definitely, let me turn this down. Most definitely, I don't plan to behave today. You see, for the past few days, I have been having some issues. And when I'm having those issues, I do not want to spread that energy to you, the viewers. It is not healthy. I cannot make you toxic if I'm feeling toxic. I have to contain it. Because you are having your days beautifully spent. You are doing your best to keep your calm, keep your composure, and to make sure that nothing invades that space and to upset your peace. So I did not want to be the person to be responsible for your peace being upset, or to upset your peace. So therefore, I knew it was better and best to keep my composure. Though the issues I speak of required that I do not keep my composure, however I had, but not today. Not today. I captioned the video. I titled this live, Why Indo-Guyanese Must, not should, not could, not I recommend, not I'm suggesting, none of that stuff. I am saying in this broadcast, why, let's bring this down. I'm saying in this broadcast, why Indo-Guyanese, East Indian ethnicity must vote on for the PPP, the People's Progressive Party, the PPP. I'm not too mindful of the civic stuff. The civic stuff is for the president, President Ali. He's obsessed with the civic stuff. That's his thing. He's a lover of civic. He's a lover of the civilians. That's his thing. Good for you. Bravo, President Ali. You're a civic guy. I'm not. I'm PPP. PPP. 100%. There is no 100 plus. That's the tariff. That's the maximum. That's the ceiling. The ceiling is 100%. PPP. I am for the people. I am for the people. I am for the progress of the people. I am for the party. Party. The term party came back in the millennia when the Dutch or the British or the Europeans want to get involved in conversation. They want to socialize. And their act, or what was consistent with them socializing, was tea. They brewed tea. They have their nice teacups and the mug. They gather around and everybody gets a cup. And they pour tea. And while they're conversing, while they're discussing, while they are planning, they are sipping tea. Hence, part tea. You're parting the tea. You're sharing the tea. The term party came from that. So we have party as a word, which simply means you are in a group, you have an occasion, you plan something, you have an agenda, you know exactly where you're going. When somebody invites you to a party, they specify what's on the itinerary. They specify what it will be about. It's a birthday party, a wedding party, an anniversary party, whatever it is. It is always something constructive. Let me rephrase that. When civilized people, again from the term civic. You see, every time you talk about the PPP, every time I entertain the PPP and its agenda or its in-house practices, I get smarter. My brain just tapped into the 11% capacity. Thinking about the PPP and what the PPP is all about, it's like a mental boost. I get smarter. I'm just thinking out of the blue. I'm pulling these ideas from the thin air. It's like they're waiting there. It's like the ideas are waiting around, just waiting. You know, the good spirits, the angels, they're waiting. And from the time you say something that is consistent with good and divine, they're like, hey, that's our cue. Let's get into his brain and just maximize. That's the PPP. You start talking about the PPP and automatically you sound smart. You sound like you actually attended the university, like you have a PhD like me. You sound clever. Because the PPP represents the people, it's progress, onward. Because I was talking about the party, when the Europeans, the civilized, the civic component of society, gathered on their garden lawns, the back of their yard, where they have those nice tables, those nice umbrella, and they have those African maids or servants bring them the tea. They talked among themselves. What's on the agenda for today? How can we control the world? What else do we have to put in place? What do we do? Constructive things. of how to better humanity. That's what they do in the party, parting T, 2 words, party. Come together, you have party. The PPP, they represent parting T, but the T is what we need to deal with. Because when the Europeans parted the tea, they didn't parted cheap tea. They didn't part tea that is toxic, that will cause problems to the kidneys. No, they parted the best quality brand of tea in those times. Because their taste can only, their palate can only be satisfied with the taste of elegance, excellence, greatness. It has to taste rich. That's what they parted. The PPP organization, political organization, the party represents wealth, prosperity, quality, quantity, peacefulness, order, law-abidingness, health, development, hope, loyalty, faithfulness. I can spend the entire time of this program itemizing what the PPP represent. I can do that. That's the PPP I talk about. The People's Progressive Party that was thought up, that came out of the invincible, infinite mind of the true heroic father of modern Guyana, the savior of Guyana's democracy, Guyana's future, Guyana's legacy, the true hero. He thought up by himself with the help of the ancestors, of the angels, of the good energy and forces that the universe made available to him because he was worth it. Dr. Cheddi Jagan. From his mind came out the concept, and from his heart came out the policy of today's PPP. This in Irfan Ali or Jagdio. No, they inherit from our father who wore Cheddi Jagan. Hallowed be his name. All the people now in the PPP inherited his work. He made the sacrifice and the investment, and he endured the struggle so that today Guyana has risen to being amongst the greatest nations on earth. By one man, it was made possible. Cheddi Jagan. Now, every corner of the world you go, you hear the rising sound. God bless Guyana. I am proud to be Guyanese, one Guyana. Because we, despite the breaks in transmission, we migrated to this point where we have an offspring of Chedi, political offspring, born, bred, raised, educated, molded, nurtured offspring of the party of Chedi at the helm, making every Guyana throughout the 83,000 square miles of that wonderful country. That person, President Irfan Ali. You understand, this ain't no joke. This ain't no joke. The same way how a lot of you Indian parents put your young children to sit and you explain to them, you paint a picture to them to let them see, not experience, see what lies ahead if they do not do their best in school, stay out of trouble, don't mix with the thugs and the vagabonds of society. You show them what lies ahead if they ever slip up and slip between those possibilities. And most of the time, your children listen. So you find forever the Indians always hold the top spot in every sector, every field of academia in Guyana, because the parents impressed upon their young minds, don't fuck this up. You have a lot to lose. The ones who somehow did not grab that opportunity, it is not because the parents did not do their best. It's because they were too vulnerable, because they congregate with the Negroes who could only utilize their 1% brain, and to fit in with these Negroes, they forsook the counsels of their parents and their elders because they want to look cool. They want to look like the black guys. She want to look like the black girls. You know, she want to have a set of men, a set of boyfriends. She want to, because the black girls look cool, and she don't want to be the only Indian girl who's a nerd. He don't want to be the only Indian guy who is, I want to call the word, but all these sensitive stuff on the internet. I call the word, and the next thing you know, I'm flagged, and but you get it. Tinkerbell. He don't want them miggers. I said miggers. Miggers. He don't want them miggers to think that he's a flincher. He's a little butterfly. So he got to play tough. He have to take the drugs early. He got to get involved in some gangs early. He has to get some scratch and some scars on his body so he can seem tough. He got to run around with the low lifes in the neighborhood. He got to go and get some ghetto thug pregnant so he can be approved as a slumber. So he can be approved as a low life. He needs the approval of those gangsters and thugs. So he has to become like them. Defy the blessings, the sacrifices of his parents. When they warned him, this is the future that awaits if you are as stupid as those fellas in the corner there, whose parents didn't take the time to talk to them. Those Indians who defy their parents and follow the blacks, look at them today. They join in the complaint, oh, the PPP is racist, oh, the PPP don't look after the poor people, oh, the PPP are corrupt and robbers and thieves and friends and family. But the ones who took advantage of their parents' counsels, took advantage of their youth and exploit their youth, so when they're adults, they're independent, middle class, striving to go upper class, they have no issues with the PPP. Not even the PNC. No issues. Because they understand that their help comes from their ability to be their best. Their help doesn't come from a government or a president. Their help comes from what they think they deserve. And they go after that using what? Their brain, their talent, and they provide that in the way of a service. And from that service, they earn. Those are like that. But the ones who are contaminated with Negroid MAGAs, they're stuck on the 1% brain capacity. And those are the ones you see on social media cussing out the president, joining the PNC, holding protests, justice for the, justice for the, those Indians, you see, they are 1% brain capacity. All you have to do is look at them with scorn. Yeah. You never say, You don't feel sorry for stupidity. Let me tell you who you feel sorry for. A retired teacher, a retired nurse, a retired police officer, a retired soldier, a retired public servant who has given their life's energy towards the service of you, the citizens. Those senior citizens from the category I've just highlighted, those are the ones you feel sorry for. The next category are children. Children who are of school age and don't have the opportunity to earn for themselves. Those two categories. The handicap and all of that comes in the category of children. If you're born handicapped, you come in that category there. But you do not feel sorry for nobody else. This thing don't work like that. It doesn't work like that. You think if you feel sorry for someone because they say they have an issue, you'll get a blessing. If you take your money out and you give it to some junkie that is on the corner of the road, that is of a workable age, you think you'll be blessed for that? You think if you feel sorry for somebody who went to prison for robbery, possible murder, or whatever heinous crimes they would have committed, you think if you feel sorry for that category of people, some God is going to bless you? You're an idiot. You need to understand. Everyone, before they reached an adult age, had the opportunity to choose. They didn't. And all the people who would have been victimized by their evil, some may not be around to even accept an apology from them. So when you see them as adults or seniors, and you realize that this was an ex-criminal, or this person did nothing with their lives, or he drank his wealth away, gambled his house away, ended up homeless, and you think you need to tap into your emotion, your better human side, and give some kind of arm to persons like that, you are an idiot. You do not, because when you feel sorry for stupid, you are taking the curse from them on yourself. Do you see what billionaires and millionaires do? They never give alms directly. They always do it via a foundation or a charity. Because charity deals with specific cases. They never take out and give money like this to some individual. No, they never do it. Because they understand the principle of giving and receiving. They understand the principles of that. So if you give a dog food that is not trained where and how to poop, that dog is going to eat your food. And that dog is going to defecate on top of your lawn or your step or your port right there. And then you may not notice, you may take it for granted that the dog is so kind, and the dog would realize that, hey, he has given me food, but I feel the need to defecate. I'm not going to do it here. I'll find somewhere far, because out of respect for this nice, kind person, no, a dog is a dog. It will poop right there. Then you mash that poop, take it under your shoes, you step in your car with it, then eventually you step in your house with it, you walk all over your place, not realizing, then you start getting that stench, that smell. And you have to rip apart the whole place. It costs you. Simply because you thought you are doing a good giving a dog food that is not trained. All of that happened as a consequence to you not having discipline when it comes to your emotions. Same thing with people. Same thing with people. When you are sorry for them magas from the ghetto and you extend your arms to them, in their mind, you're Indian. They are programmed to hate you. So any opportunity they get, they will do exactly what they are programmed and trained to do: hate you. And that hatred can cost you an entire hotel complex. Millions and millions and millions of dollars, just because you thought you want to do some good to people who are humans, and it feels good. Like I said before, the PPP is a peaceful party, disciplined, with constructive objectives. When you follow that discipline, you are inviting prosperity, longevity, peace, and harmony into your life when you follow the discipline and principles of the PPP. That's what they represent. So this is why I emphasize, and I will emphasize, that Indo-Guyanese need to look in the mirror and be honest with themselves. The only way the young Indian boy in the village is going to go and try to be a friend or try to get involved in the groups where they have black boys is fear. Fear. He's afraid of them, and he doesn't want them to hurt him. So by being in their company, gaining their trust, they will protect him from other thugs that are black. Only reason. Otherwise to that, the blacks have no interest in socializing with the Indians. None. Whatsoever. When they do, it's for the same reason an Indian boy would try to seek refuge among some black boys. Protection. The blacks associate with the Indians for financial security, economic protection, not because it's a human thing to do. When the card or the table is turned, they flip the switch, and you, the Indian, are wondering, what the fuck? I grew up with him. I didn't expect that this was possible. Yes, it is. Because it is written in the DNA of the African to hate everybody but love himself. And even that they don't do. Even that they don't do. They don't love themselves. This is not unique to Guyana. I'm a global person. Look around the world. Where do you find or see the most infighting, division, toxic society, underdevelopment? Where? Africa, the continent of Africa, and in the countries worldwide, African areas, neighborhoods where black people are, that's where you have the highest crime, the highest poverty, the highest single parents or single mothers, the highest incarceration of imprisonment amongst the male, highest than every other fucking group. Do your research. You'll see. It is a thing, it's a black thing. It doesn't matter where in the world you are. This is why you need to protect your identity, your sacred identity. That if you should align yourself with anything Negroid, let him enter your camp so he understands that there are some rules, there is an initiation process, there is some development, maturity, before he can be considered a brother. There's some cleansing, like the Christianity. For a man to enter the kingdom of God, he must be what? Born again. So the mentality of an Indian should always be, for a Negro to enter the kingdom or the comfort of the Indian, he must be born again. Born into the mentality, the thinking, the mindset that can qualify him as trustworthy. Hence, he's just a gold digger. Just a gold digger. Let's deal with some history now. I don't need to go into semantics about how the government should function. That's what the government needs to do. The government has their communications department and they have their paid pundits. I'm not a paid pundit. So I don't have to be selective and talk specific topics with the government. That's what the government are paying their people to do. Let them do that. My concern is about the safety of the good Guyanese citizens. That's my concern. Safety and security. I have no other concerns. That's it. Regardless of who the candidate, presidential candidate, regardless, as long as it comes, as long as he or she, see, I'm saying she now, I'm changing, I'm getting some reformation, things are happening, you see, it's getting there. These women are having an impact on me. You know, it gotta be, you gotta compromise, okay, I don't mind. If it comes out of the camp of the PPP, they have my blessings and they have my support. What the PNC produces are are African products made in China. That's what the PNC produces. African products made in China. If it is thought up on the continent of Africa, then it's going to be made in China. Forget it. That's the PNC. The PPP are Indian products made in India, not Europe, not America, India, which means pure, not corrupted. No virus. They don't need to be scanned. They don't need upgrading. The PNC need a constant upgrade because they're not real. They're artificial, so they need constant upgrading. And what upgrades them? What upgrades the PNC? Looting, violence, protest, division, racism. That's how they are boosted, upgraded. That's what they need constantly. Because the obia, the demon, the spirits that they feed on requires chaos. They need that. So my Indian brothers and sisters, while I implore you to share my video, it's not an order, it's a request. I believe in freedom of choice. I do not force anything on anyone. I make a request for you to share my video, not because it benefits me, but because it is important to the democracy, the future stability, and the economic might and growth of Guyana. I'm the only voice online that speaks this way. There is nobody else. Nobody else. Put them side by side. Whoever they claim to be, put them side by side. There is none. So because this is unique, it requires dedication from those who believe and those who subscribe and those who stand in solidarity. I know what I'm saying. I want you to trust what I'm saying. If you are honest with yourself, I understand you have to be politically correct. I get it. You never want to be perceived as racial. Nor does the Chinese, nor does the Caucasian or the white man never want to be perceived as racial, because the truth is that those people that I've just mentioned, the Indian, the Chinese, the white, are not racial people. Are not. The only way anybody can experience an Indian person who is accused of being racial is the person who is accusing him or her of being racial. By virtue of their loud vocal accusation, with no evidence, the listener or those on social media who are feeding on that information, they're experiencing, oh my gosh, racism exists, the Indians are racial. But they themselves never had an encounter with an Indian that they can say that, hey, I was discriminated against. Never. If they have to be honest, they never have. All those pundits, all of them. I'm not calling the name because I don't want them to get any more publicity from my feed. No. But you know who they are. They're living illegally in America. All those pundits who are talking about racist PPP, racist this, racist that, ask them, had they ever had a racial encounter via an Indian person? Ask them. Did an Indian ever discriminate against them? You ask them. Any one of them. Ask them. They have never had an experience. But because they are the 1% brain, vulnerable, low-life scrapes, who are lazy, who are looking for every day some Indian wedding to go to so they can have lots of free food, who just want to work an hour and earn 5,000 Guyana dollars, that audience are constantly waiting for somebody they can look up to tell them that their situation is what it is because they are under an Indian government that is racist against black people. So it justifies why they are not progressing in life. Then they say, oh, that's why they're poor. That's why they're this. That's why they're that. Because the Indian, even though they have no experience, nothing whatsoever, to say that an Indian discriminated against them. They just want to hear something that they can lean on to. And the racist talks usually pays off. But there is no evidence. No evidence that the Indian in Guyana is racial towards the blacks. None. Because if the Indian was racial, if the PPP was a racist political party, there would be no black ministers, cabinet ministers. None. Fucking zero. The Minister of Public Works, the ministry that handles the most investment, financial, that controls the largest budget for the country. That ministry is headed by a black man, not a Douglas man or a mixed man, a black man who is a pastor, not a Hindu or a Muslim, a bishop with his own church, not even a Catholic. The ministry that deals with labor, employment. If you want to show racism or to discriminate against a group of people, marginalizing them that they can't earn an income, that they can't make a living, to keep them impoverished so you can control them, you can do that via the Ministry of Labor. That minister is a black man, is a Negro. The ministry that deals with security If you were a racist government and you want to kill black people, you want to imprison black people, you want to keep them subjected, you want to build a wall and have an apartheid system against them, why would you give the Ministry of Home Affairs that deals with all the discipline services, that you can give the order to, you can capitalize on that? Why would you give that ministry to a black man? These are three large ministries: Home Affairs, Public Works, Labor Ministry. Black people are running it. Where is the racism? What, you want the president to be black? The prime minister is a black man. How many regional democratic chairmen throughout the country are blacks under the PPP? How many permanent secretary? One got herself in some hot shit when she couldn't keep it up and got in deep mess because she's a hustler and made it bad. And people have to say, that's why you can't trust these MAGA bitches. I mean, witches. That what got sanctioned with the Muhammads? Isn't she from the PPP camp? And she's black. But look, the mess she caused. She belongs in the PNC. I hope she quits. I hope she does the reverse to what these decent, law-abiding members did recently. They realize that they cannot subscribe to witchcraft. They realize that they weren't raised that way. They were raised in the churches, in the temples, in the mosques. They realized that their parents instilled more values in them, and they woke up from the spell, the Barnum spell. Because I tell you, PNC controls you via obeah. When that spell wears off, because Aubrey is not so good in witchcraft, and because they have been fighting, and they're throwing it against each other, AFC and they're throwing the obeah against each other, it's wearing off of the people who are controlled by witchcraft. And those people are getting up, waking up, and they're stepping out. And they're joining peace, prosperity, unity, progress. They're joining the PPP. I give credit when it's due. All those people who left the PNC camp, the PNC nasty camp, with that hideous, that man's face is like a graveyard. His face is where the demons go to recreate, to socialize. They socialize on his face. Yeah, it's like they have devil's matches on his face. It's like the vampires have a feast on his face. Aubrey Norton. Imagine having to look at that face as a general secretary, a very attractive woman, being the general secretary of that demonic party, and having to look at that man on a regular basis, asking herself, how the fuck did I end up here? I mean, I have to look at this thing and take orders from him, do all his nasty work. It's not my style. I didn't sign up for that. So before I have to lose the cat out of the bag, and then they have to threaten my life and come after me with their thugs, let me just make a decent step away. And she did that just not to stir up any issues against herself, her family, because that's what they do. But that woman who joined the PPP, that was the best decision you have ever made, madam. Best decision. I respect you for that. That is the strength of a woman. What R. Kelly sang. No, not R. Kelly. What's this guy's name? I don't know their songs. I don't listen to... Look, I don't listen to ghetto music. I don't listen to hip-hop, rap. What's the other one? I listen to some R&B, Lionel Richie, Stevie Wonder, you know, those kinds that has quality taste and reverence to women, respectful. I listen to that sometimes. But I'm more a country music person, you know, I'm more Indian music, country music. I like the kind of, because I don't want anything to mess with my thinking. Nothing to come into my ears that will disturb the peace in my mind. I need peace. I need peace so I can be angry when I'm doing the show. But if I don't have peace around me, I can't, it's impossible, it's difficult. It doesn't work good. So I don't listen to those kinds of music. I can't tell you who they are. But there's a song that talks about strength of a woman, and that demonstrates the strength of a woman. When you can leave a man that is ill-treating you, when you can leave a man that is disrespecting you, threatening you, starving you, punishing you, ill-treating you, treating you as if you don't exist, when you have the strength to do that, you're a strong woman. You are a strong woman. Hats off to you. So all those women who are watching, if you're with a man in house and he comes home drunk every day, be it on drugs, on alcohol, anger, why are you still there? You are better off in your own toxic space than to be in a space with a man who brings the demons from the road to affect your peace. Do like what this lady did with the PNC. She left all the chaos behind. She don't want to be a part of it, and she's not the only one. This movie guy, James Bond, it matters not what they may have talked about the guy and talked about soup drinking and this and that. I mean, nobody leaves for the worst. I mean, nobody leaves the worst for the worst. You have to really be out of this world for you to leave a good relationship where you're happy, where you're at peace. The man don't hit you. He don't starve you. You're free to go and come as you wish. He doesn't check up on you every second of the day. He doesn't monitor your friends. You have to be real fucking stupid, out your mind, to leave that comfort zone for something else some other guy might promise you. The people who left the PNC, they left the PNC for the same reason women leave toxic relationships. For the same reason. They know they deserve more. They deserve better. So they left for better. The PPP is better. The PPP is better. That's why they left. They want better. So you, the Indian community of Guyana, you should not be impressed that you have these Negroes that are leaving the PNC for the PPP. That should not impress you. That should not cause you to be excited and like you get wet dreams. No, it shouldn't. Because you should know what the PPP stood for. And you should know that it's just a matter of time when people in the PNC are going to wake up and smell the dal, the curry, the roti, the chicken, the good life on the other side. And they will say, hey, enough with the punishment in the PNC. We're going to better. Just a matter of time. So welcome them. They know what the PPP stands for. They know they cannot come with that Barnum nonsense into the PPP camp. They know that. So they have to leave all their nasty baggages, leave all their burdens, all their toxic ideas and behavior, leave it where it belongs, and that is in their Congress place, the camp of the PNC. Drop all that heavy load, so they come to the PPP with empty hands, bearing nothing but themselves, their honesty, their dedication, their willingness to work hard towards the betterment of Guyana. That's what they come to the PPP with. And when they come to the PPP, they get the opportunity to deliver quality for the people of Guyana. They get the opportunity to do that. So it's a good thing. Let all of them leave. Norton deserves to be there alone at Congress Place. Him and the others. The Ministry of Legal Affairs should investigate all the people who came from the Burnham regime. There are so many allegations against them. Why is it that this man, Sean Hines, who came out and made all that confession, why is it that the people he had mentioned, now one of them is chairman, he wants to be president, he was fingered as being aware of what was happening? Was he questioned? Why wasn't he disqualified from even getting involved in politics? Robert Corbyn, all these people, why were they allowed to roam free? Because the Indians are afraid of the blacks? Because you think if you investigate these people or arrest these people, what they will say is a witch hunt? It's an attack on democracy. It's an attack on freedom. It's going after your political opponents. These men are no opponents for the PPP members. Aubrey Norton is no threat to Irfan Ali. Nigel Hughes is no threat to Barrett Jagdeo. They are no threat to nothing, to no one. Absolutely not. You would not lose any votes. The Indian votes that you would lose to the PNC, you never had them. Those are the 1% brain capacity that grew up in the ghetto. That's where they find their safety and their solitude. That's how they feel important, when they can walk the streets, with some black guys, makes them look cool. You won't get those. They like the punishment. They like the fact that they live in the slum and the ghetto, and they like that. You give them an opportunity to better their lives, they will think, oh, what would my black brother think if I get a chance to get up and he's still there? No, you can keep your blessings. No, you prefer to be there with the others. Those, you can leave them where they are. They're happy being that. The PNC need to make sure that they keep feeding their followers. They know what these blacks require. These blacks want to see that thuggish, terrorism, gangster lifestyle, because it gets them ticking. It gets their heart beating. This is what the Democrats in America does. The Democrats know their base. Their base likes to protest. The Democrats in America are blacks. They love protest. They love chaos. They love fire. They love burning. That's what they love. But it is not unique to the Democrats in America. It is a black thing everywhere in the world. You just have to plan and prepare for that. So if you constantly thinking that you don't want to offend these blacks by going after their so-called leaders, then the leaders are going to be there to continue to lead the weak ones into chaos, and continued destabilization of the country. An end to that need to be now. The security of Guyana is important, is necessary. It needs to happen right now. You wait around for what? Until another hotel must be burnt down? This issue with this education thing I talked about yesterday. You have to be firmer, Minister Manichan. You have to be firmer. But all of you are afraid of these blacks, every one of you. This is why they continue to do what they do, because they understand that you just talk, you can't touch. You have to start touching and less talking, because they're touching. They're touching to destroy the country. They're touching in conspiracy to destabilize the government. They're touching with their propaganda online. They're touching. But you're just talking. Your thing is the courts, the courts, the courts, the courts. They don't understand that, President Ali. They don't understand that. The PPP stands for law, but you need to reach them where they are. If they want to behave like thugs, send out the police that are thugs to deal with the thugs. If the police are too chicken, get the military. Get the military. Use the military police. I'm calling on the Indo-Guyanese. Join the forces in your numbers. If it is a conspiracy to sideline the applicants from the Indians, investigate it. If you know that you have applied to join the army or join the police force, make a complaint. So all the other Indians who may have a similar experience, complain in your numbers, so the government will say, hey, this is a systematic practice. Then you see that it is a plan to keep the Indians out of the military, out of the police force, out of the discipline services, because the blacks want to dominate it, in that it's an apparatus for the PNC. This is why crime isn't stopping. This is why criminals just get a stupid amount of bail. Because they need these people out in society to continue to terrorize society, just so the government has a lot to deal with and can't focus on the programs and plans to make Guyana great always. Step it up. Investigate. Find out what this thing is about. Otherwise, to that, you're not making sense. You are not making sense. I have to pause now because the internet here is not as strong as it should be. So I don't want to have the inconvenience that you've experienced before. So I'll pause here and continue the rest on the next program. What I want to deal with tomorrow is this person, Glenn Lau. The question I will leave to answer tomorrow, Mr. Glenn Lau, what is your obsession with oil? What is your obsession with oil? You see, straight men, heterosexual men, maybe you won't understand the word heterosexual. I'll say straight. Men who likes women are not obsessed with oil. You know the case with Puff Daddy, P. Diddy. They found hundreds of bottles of baby oil. We understand why he's obsessed with oil. He goes through the back door. My question is, Mr. Glenlal, why are you obsessed with oil? Is there something that is hidden? Because if you like women, you don't need oil, they get wet. The other side is not designed for that, so you have to use substance to get it lubricated, and oil is the choice of. Until next time. This is Dr. Love Persaud saying all the best, and I need your support. All the kind people who continue to send their support, I need your support. Thank you very much. Send me a message on Facebook, and I'll let you know how you can do that. But thanks a lot for watching. Share the video, share the live, spread the word. I'll see you again on the next broadcast. Goodbye now. So how am I supposed to end this now? I'm trying to figure out how I have to end this. I don't know how you end this.